sharp. Let me know when you're sharp.
Yeah.
Scene 15, take 5, Mark.
All right, quiet please. Here we go. All right, let's drop them. We're rolling. Once mic clears, we're set.
And
where am I looking? I'm not.
Action!
Fuck you.
Boom. Boom. All right, back to one, right away. All right, here we go, back to 1. Set.
Action!
Fuck
I've been insanely blessed to be able to work on some of the coolest projects, and one of them last year being a crime drama show, which is my favorite genre if you know me as a filmmaker, out in Miami that deals with cartel, you know, Miami nightlife, all of that, right? And so if I do say so myself, this is some of my best work to date. It's something that definitely challenged me and pushed me, and the results speak for themselves. So I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I think that this looks pretty good. So unlike traditional cinematography breakdowns where everybody is going to go in there and tell you exactly verbatim every last thing about their process, what I want to do is I want to create a generation of thinkers. I want to create a philosophy. There are so many different ways to achieve great looks. There's so many different lighting techniques, different lights that you could use themselves, different ways that you could rate the camera. And I really believe that there is no right or wrong answer at the end of the day. It's just how you think about things. You know, there's exposure, there's false color, there's all these things, and there's very technical DPs out there who are absolutely amazing. I would say I'm probably a little bit in the middle. A lot of what I create is by feeling. I do use false color. I do make sure my images are at least somewhat properly exposed, but sometimes I toss out the rule book. So let's take a look at this image right here. This image was one of the last days of production, and we have a little scene where this guy is held hostage here, and now there's a little bit of a dialogue between the both of them about some money that is owed, right? And these images right here, they take place in a warehouse, right? And so when you look at them, you know, if you know your lighting, if you've been around lighting before, you can generally get a sense and tell where the lighting is coming from, right? And that is called motivation. So when you light, I want you to think about, what source am I motivating from? How far away is that source, right? A light that is right here is never going to look like a light that is 30 feet away. Another thing that I see all the time is people, you know, always wanting to get the light in as close as possible to be as soft as possible, right? And although that may be true, right? Does that mean it's the right answer? Does that mean it's going to give us the best result? I think a lot of the videos that are online and a lot of the technical teaching and thought that is spewed out there is put in such a way where it is hard rule, where it is hard fact. But if we think outside of that box, if we think in our own way about lighting, all of these things just in an intuitive way, how far is the light? What color is the light? What would be the quality of light, right? I believe we begin to become a lot more intuitive with ourselves and how our lighting should look, and we begin to develop a style that starts to look a lot better and a lot less artificial, right? You know, all of those technical rules, they're a guide and they're there and they're a tool, but over time it is only going to box you in, right? So going back to our reference here, we're in a warehouse. What does a fluorescent look like? It's hard. It is not really soft, right? Where is the fluorescent? It's far up. The ceilings are pretty high. We can tell that from the wide shot, and we can tell that from all the other shots, right? So the distance of the light is not going to feel the same. what Kelvin temperature or color roughly are most fluorescents? They're cooler in temperature, right? They look a little bit bluer. Sometimes in this case, we kind of pushed a little bit of a greenish look into it. Sometimes they have a green tint when they're old, you know, and that was an intentional stylistic choice that I went for, right? But a lot of that assimilates to what we see with our eyes. There's no rule there. If this fluorescent was overhead, right, it's casting some really, really gritty shadows, and it's focusing the light in only such an area, and there's going to be hard fall off, and there's going to be things that you can't see. And so this motivation to automatically make sure that every last little area is lit and make sure everything is so technically sound, and make sure that we're just defaulting to soft lighting right away, and certain things that we've been taught and getting the light in as close, I think will only wreck your quality of your work over time as a cinematographer. And I really think that that speaks for itself here. Now, if we look as well, right, what do most warehouses have as floor? Usually it's like a concrete floor, like a lighter color concrete. You don't see a lot of black, right? And so to help better sell that feeling, right, we need to get a little bit of feeling in the eyes, but we want things to feel natural. The one thing I will tell you is that we had just a little 4x4 silver bounce right off camera underneath the actors, and basically the light that was coming from above is bouncing into that silver beadboard and then back into the face. It gives us a nice eye light. It lifts the black level just a little bit on the face, because we kind of wasted it off so it wasn't super harsh and pinging or anything, but that in tandem feels like a wet floor, and you can see that in the wide shot. A wet floor would definitely bounce a little bit of light and give that shine and that sheen in there. And other things that we have to look at inside the frame, right? I love texture personally. And when we have the guy in the chair here, right, he's been hanging upside down. He's in Miami. It's hot. It's humid, right? So I had the makeup artist, you know, put sweat beads all over him. He's been beaten up and everything. Nowadays, we see everything and it's so matte and it's so perfect and the light is so soft and things like that. But this is drama. This is crime drama. So the appropriate method here would definitely be to give us some drama in the look, right? And all of those things and all of those final decisions that I came to on the look all come from just thinking with intuition, my brain, how I would see things in real life. Everything we talked about, from the motivation of the light to what's in the frame, right? The sweat beads, the blood, the shine, the bounce off the floor, that's just intuition. I go, hey, okay, it's Miami. It's hot, it's humid. This guy's gonna be sweating. He's stressed the hell out. You know, we need that. And that all builds into the look beyond just the lighting, right? And that just comes from intuition. So I could sit here like anybody else. I could tell you exactly what panels we used. I could tell you, little Easter egg there. I could tell you how many lights we had. I could also tell you that certain lights in this frame I did not place there, and certain things are happy accidents, right? But I'm not going to do that. I think there's enough of that on YouTube. I have done that myself, and I think what it creates is a dependency on this light at this time, and I need, you know, this diffusion to be able to do this and get this exact look. There are so many ways to get great looks, and unfortunately the reality of being a cinematographer is that you're not always going to have what you want. On this one, I was lucky enough to have it. However, on this day I did not have a lot of time, so this setup, if you can believe it or not, I want you guys to think for yourself of what it might be, and I want you to drop it in the comments down below. This setup was actually quite minimal, and for how minimal the lighting setup was, in my opinion, is one of the best pieces of work that I have ever created. And why is that, right? It is the production value in the frame, the actors, they look amazing, the wardrobe, the location, the production design that was done around it, and of course, yes, the lighting creates the mood, the lenses, the focal lengths that we shot on, everything like that helps to further create the mood, right? But it is not a one size fits all approach, and it is definitely not, you know, make it or break it on which lighting that you use. And you definitely should never think that you have to think inside of a box of what this person says or that person says. The only way that we get unique cinematographers, and the only way that we get people who develop their own style, is by them going out there and breaking the rules every once in a while. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you took some of this information into your head, and maybe the next time you have a shoot coming up, you think about it and you approach your lighting, you approach the way that you're shooting and framing, all of that in a much different way from now on. This has been Sean. my handsome bald self. I'll see you guys on the next one.